I'm more annoyed with the front. So that's the next thing, fixing the front. We're gonna try to figure it out as we go. I like how the back works and I don't like how the front is right now. I learned some things while doing the rear that I think will help me here. And it's more to do with the lines. So like this body line is, you know, the stock body line of the car, which I like and looks good. It's got an arc, you know, this way. But this side one is kind of in reality flat, but when you look at it, it looks like it's doing the opposite. And that clashes with this upper piece. So the first thing I need to do is figure out, I can't add any length to this easily, so I'd rather try to remove some here, which will help me with a little bit of tire clearance anyway. But if I can get the arc to, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, it probably will never be, but it needs to be at least in the same direction and similar. The rear has a little bit of curvature that I like, where it kind of comes in and then changes direction a little bit near the door. And I think that was a nice touch and kind of gives it more of the, I like the curves of like the stock body, and that's what you can't really see much of with this. And you're kind of drawn to this big flat dopey thing I welded in up here. So in the rear, I welded in a piece of 1/4 inch rod all the way around to make the fender a lot stronger. I'll probably do the same thing here. And when I do that, I can fix this awful flat spot. Well, I've cut it.
You can really see it here.
Yeah. In your opinion, does it look better or worse?
It does. It looks better. Yeah. Has a little style to it.
I feel like right here is still too much material, but take it out this far. I don't know what else to do.
Matt! Yeah, I like this. I think this looks really good. And I think up here looks good. I think that needs fixed.
I'm thinking like even if I just cut it to
Cut it
there
back a little
and try
bit.
to just make that a smooth contour and then,
Yeah.
like I think right here is very subtle.
I think just cutting it back a little bit would do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this needs a lot.
No,
It's
I think
just
even if I just
enough.
cut the weld out and then just make the top edge smooth and make the bottom edge
This
smooth.
is such a nice line, and then this is such a nice line that
Because
even
the camera guy drew it.
oh,
Oh, you know, he
nice.
drew that. He traced that line.
But like, because this is nice and this is nice, even though this isn't a lot, it's throwing
It's
it
enough.
off just enough to make you look at it and go, what's not right?
That.
It's that.
Fine.
Fix it.
Fine. Thanks, Matt.
Yep, no problem.
Kind of agree, kind of disagree. I think it's more the height. It's a side bulge that bothers me here, not a top bulge. He's describing it as a top. I think it comes up too high here. This line is where the rear one is. Like if I wanted it to be the same, which isn't gonna happen. Then I would have to come in a ton to make that work. That's too sharp of an angle. The smart way to do this, which I should have taken in the first approach, is just slowly work up to it. So if I just keep like trimming it just a little bit until I'm happy with it, kind of sneak up on it rather than if I did that big cut and then I'm like, yeah, that was too much, then I have to do the whole piece over. So, there-ish. Start with that. Wheelie. So this might be the time to fix this scenario.
I mean, too much space on each side of the tire.
Yeah. Because like, as I'm coming back and get closer to the door, it's making it more obvious that it's behind the door, not next to the door. So I'm going to cut out this factory stamped piece here. I tried bending a little flange that I don't like, so I'm going to cut that off, and then I got to make a flange all the way around and then tie it back into the body somehow, because right now, you know, there's no structure to it at all. So I would like it to not look dumb, because you can see it. That's kind of why this like factory stamped thing that's all wrinkly isn't going to be okay. It's really bugging me out how right here looks, this top corner, and like right here, because when I planished it, it stretched a little bit, but without the shape of the wheel well or anything on the back, it's kind of just wobbly and all over the place. So I can't really do anything about it, or it doesn't really make sense to until I have it a little more constrained. So I try to do that, and then this top edge is a little wobbly. So I got a cheap body hammer set that I'm going to try to learn how to straighten some of that. TIG welding thin sheet metal is very interesting. It does things you don't always expect, or I don't. So I don't know, I've had issues where like I tack what's the easiest and you end up chasing your tail around like an area that you really should have spent more time fitting correctly. I definitely did that here, but I was getting a little hasty. Because I'm also learning there's a lot you can fix after the fact. Like, you can kind of really beat up sheet metal pretty good and get it to come back into shape better than you think you would. So I've been kind of pushing the boundaries of both. It's like I half-ass the fitment, and then I spend more time trying to sort it back out afterwards, or I get it closer in the beginning. And neither has worked great so far. They're, I don't know. It's definitely like a lost art. Like guys that do really good sheet metal work. Tricky. Yeah, so I'm trying to remember where we left off last, but I know the wheel arch wasn't quite fixed yet. I welded in a new piece over here to make the arch look right, and then, you know, to fix that flat spot in the center and to sort of match what I was doing in the rear, there's a solid 1/4 inch rod on the inside of here, just to give it a little more strength, which it's pretty rugged now, considering I only have like a couple bolts in it. So this side's pretty well roughed out. There's a bunch of little stuff. I'm gonna have to spend some time hammering and dialing like a bunch of low spots out and trying to smooth it out before I do any filler work. But for now, this is close enough to start working on the other side. It should go quicker, but how much, I don't know. The work of it, I have figured out, so that should go faster, but also trying to make it symmetrical is gonna take more time, because I was just kind of winging it on that side, but now I want it to look, you know, as close as I can to the same. So I have to spend some time trying to work that out.
You're gonna stick that back there. And then make this do stuff. See? It's that easy.
Any issues with this side?
No. I mean, it's both faster and slower to do the other side. Because like I can cheat and be like, okay, and I took a bunch of measurements off this top thing and then measured how far out and ballparked this upper profile close. But because I want it to be the same, and now I have to like sneak up on it, and I'm trying to do all that stuff the same way. So like it both slows you down and speeds it up. You have a better idea of what you're trying to do, but trying to make it the same takes more effort than just making one. So it's a different struggle. But not bad.
Just feels different.
Yeah, I was looking at the gap. So like looking at it from the side, you can see a gap from this edge to the front of the door. There's a little bit of an air gap. And I remembered it being like really even. And now that I've just looked at the other side, it's not very even. So I'm sure that was my intent, but it's like almost flush at the top and has a little gap at the bottom. And that's exactly how this was lining up. These are the things that take longer trying to do it again than the first time.
Not feeling it?
It's close. It's two big weird spots though.
Are you trying to get the lumps out by cutting and rewelding?
Created a new one. This one got a big lump. I should have like been more careful cutting that. There was lumps this way, so I was trying to trim this side to make it better. And now I'm pulling it in a little bit and then wind up with a little extra material. So my rough plan is to use the ends of the bumpers. So if I cut them, you know, kind of just where they start to round the corner, and then graft them onto my existing bumper to meet up with the wide body, maybe that'll work. So that's my rough plan. Otherwise, I kind of like sorted out all the little details on these the other day, or most of them. I got some holes in the bottom now, so they can suck some more air in if the vents aren't big enough, and let out, you know, all the debris or wherever that gets in through the vents. So both of them have these oval slot situations going on. So yeah, as soon as I figure out bumpers, which means I have to like redo the bash bars, or at least modify them. I think I have to redo most of the front one, but the rear one I'm gonna try to just add some stuff to. And then mount the bumpers to it. And I should do it. I haven't really figured out a good plan yet, but you know, it's too far inboard of the new wide body stuff. So that's where the bumper used to be, but it needs to be like way out here. So it's not that easy to just unbend things. So I'm gonna have to cut and redo the ends at least. I'll figure that out. I have to attach that to there, but I don't have like a plethora of bumpers here. So I'm trying to sneak up on it. So I've been slowly snipping away at this till it sort of made sense and fit close to here when it was on the car. Now I'm going to cut it off the back side so I can slowly start sneaking this in until it meets up to it. It's the theory anyway. Can keep snipping away at it. The other thing is I'm going to have to change here, which is looking like a smooth transition will be fine. So I can probably play with that a little bit. So I need to get this tab out to here. But I wasn't sure if the way I'm going to be mounting this on, if it was too far back or something, I'd need it to come in and then come out to meet the stuff if it, you know, if this got too short. But from the looks of things, I can just take a couple degrees out of it. It'd line up nice with this.
Yeah, I mean, you could heat it up, I guess, and try it that way, but
That changes the properties too much. I don't know. And like
this doesn't need to, you know, live up to official, you know, NHSTA standards or anything here.
I just don't want it to not save stuff, you know?
But yeah, but
I've
when you
also
change it
bad
over
luck
there.
heating things.
Yeah, well,
It also like turns into this wobbly mess. And doesn't, like, you have no control over the form of round things when you try to bend them like that. Unless they're solid, and it kind of does normal things.
I mean, for as much as you can, I mean, I probably would, especially if you had a settling or something like that, just, it would be so easy to bend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only a couple degrees.
You could have it done in minutes, like.
Yeah.
You just heat like right at the end of the bend.
Yeah.
Yep. And you could do it on the car.
Does make it more tempting.
And all your properties will be maintained up there still. Probably.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. 1.5 inch fits in this nice, so if I have to like put a slug in it, just like knock a slug into there as far as I can and then just put it into here. Drill a couple holes, burn it in, run it.
That's an option. It'll take way longer. That would be nice. You already cut up the new one?
Oh yeah, instantly ruined.
Jeez.
I'm gonna rip that Band-Aid off.
That's not where I thought you were going to cut it though.
I cut it a little further in front, but it's got a weird bend, so I just kept sneaking up on it until the bend went away. And yeah, I'm gonna try to like do some shenanigans.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to it.
Well, at least you don't have like any headlight shape in the bumper, which is nice, because that would be really...
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate. I did like contemplate like putting a couple like pie cuts in the top so I could try to
Oh yeah.
get it, but then I have to like graft in some weird plastic bullshit. I don't feel like doing that.
Just spot metals in the backside or something like that, and then just go over it with either fiberglass or yeah, that all sucks.
Yeah. All those things sound awful.
It would probably just crease weird, and you'd see like a line on the front, anyways.
Yeah.
Well, do something.
So this is it. The wide body on the Mark III is pretty close to done. A car like this never really is done, but for now this is where it's at. We started with the front fender originally. This is the final revision, obviously, because it's painted. But if you remember, I went through it, made a quick version of it, hated it, moved to the back, figured out some of the styling lines I wanted while I was doing that and could see both at the same time. Then I revisited the front, kind of changed the body lines. I'm pretty happy with how that came out overall. I hadn't figured out exactly what lines were driving me nuts, and I needed to see both together on one side of the car. So had I started with the back, it probably would have been super square, and then I would have realized the same issue on the front and probably started off with that shape and then had to go back and do this. So luckily I started with the front because that's a lot smaller area than trying to redo the rear a bunch. But either way, not that big of a deal. But yeah, the vent came out pretty good. I've got a little phalange all the way on the outside here so it doesn't bend. Not bend super easily. I've got the vents in here. I've got some screen in it to keep little kids' fingers and birds or whatever out of the fans, because it's just a bare monster aluminum Volvo electric fan behind there. They're supposed to be, it's like 4,500 CFM, and those things are pretty wild and junkyard obtainable. So I have one of those on each side, but those things will take your fingers off. So screens. Yeah, I got another set of bumpers and cut the ends off and then just basically riveted them on. Redid the bash bar, so all that lines up nice. And it's actually protected out to the side of the fender. Yeah, the same kind of rubbing on this. You're gonna get that a lot, especially with drift cars. If you get a bunch of angle, you have a pretty square profile tire that turns around, and the edge comes out square here. I guess I could, maybe it's worth turning the wheel to show that, but it usually rubs from like the center line back a bit. It did. But otherwise it's still on there, still rugged. Nothing else happened other than the bubbling, which is fine. It's great. The other thing is I completely forgot I cut my front lip when I put it on the last bumper setup. So I forgot to order a new one. So I've now ordered a new one, but this is the one that's cut too short. So the last rendition of this car, I cut the fender and the bumper open quite a bit because I had changed the knuckles a little bit and the tire sweep was getting close. So I cut like, 2 inches off the bumper, or off the VR lip here. So I forgot all about it when to put it on. I'm like, uh-oh, that looks dumb. So that's one of the last things that's also not done. I have a new one coming, but it's not here yet. So if you enjoyed this content, we're trying to do more of it. So stay tuned and hit the buttons you're supposed to click. Ooh, I don't want to do that. That feels too YouTuber-y. Hit like, subscribe, other stuff.